We all each other stories all the time at family dinners, at friendly parties, during office lunch, sharing photos on social media, shooting dozens of stories a day, and this information sits much more firmly in our heads than just the facts because when we read stories, our brain uses not only the language part of the brain, which converts words into meaning, but also the part of the brain that deal with emotions. We imagine taste, smell, color, and movement by combining what we are have heard with our personal experience. What is storytelling? Where does it come from and where is it used? Storytelling is a method of conversing information in the form of a story in order to engage the listeners sincerely and emotional experience. If the emotional connection to the brand and company that demands the audience affection and trust, and a story is a great way to start this attachment. Storytelling is more than simply that any story resolve a conflict, does importable good or solve a problem. However, storytelling works. Our brain only engages the left hemisphere when we hear boring facts. Story include the right hemisphere which generate image, pictures, emotion. It is a chemical reaction that produce oxytocin which create the trust necessary for the success of any deal. When you boring in the emotional connection created by the story, the client does not need to be persuaded. Commercial storytelling serves several functions: propaganda, inflection, communication, influence. Propaganda story have the power to inspire, procedure, and convince. They have the potential to be long lasting and drive others to do useful things. In early 2017, Nike, for example, promote women freedom of choice in sports unification. Stories help to shape projects, brands, and company culture and establish a common identity. Lego come up with a cute commercial legal utilize a sketch from one family life to demonstrate how to bring together customers and a company that create cubes after which parents stop walking barefoot in the house. Communication stories inspire trust, and trust is the key to understanding. To generate the understanding, the more effective the communications that lead to the goal. Influence story inspire and build credibility. Steve Jobs was a brilliant entrepreneur, inventor, and industrial designer, as everyone knew. And when he gave his famous Stanford speech, they would recognize him as a wise man in whom one believed unconditionally. Future of commercial eagle stories. To build storytelling into a company marketing, you need to formulate the purpose of the story, be client oriented, use the solution problem solution scheme, show the audience the value of the brand if possible, use a story to engage the audience and make the client a full participant in it. How to tell story that people will believe. You don't have to be a talent storyteller, creative research paper write, or a director to come up with a story. It is enough to take a plot, phenomenon or event that reality changed your life for the life of someone around you. Story can tell about the creation of the products, about working with clients, about success and failures, directly about the product, about the company, about anything in general, directly or indirectly related to your business. What to take a story. Marketers don't just tell stories with text or videos. It can to becomes cards, offline speech, products, other formats for presenting content, and even multimedia. The main thing is to follow the algorithm. Storytelling algorithm analysis of the target audience for storytelling. True, but marketers and other associated professionals frequently overlook this step despite the fact that any marketing activities, with, whether launching an ad campaign or implementing a new product, begin with research in the target audience before telling a story to readers or listeners. You should assess their prior experience and listening skills. After that, bet on the ones who are more loyal and respective. The main idea of storytelling in marketing, a commercial story catches the user's attention and establishes on an emotional link on the board, resulting in trust and leading the customer to take a specific action. When starting to build storytelling in company, a marketer should keep in mind that there is a story behind every fact. It begins the moment to fact is discovered and its impact on the further course of event is obvious. This fact becomes important to a certain audience when it somehow affects that context of the audience. Choosing a hero for storytelling. The story that a company telling about its a job or product are dependent on the client contacts, their life habits and interests rather than the company itself. The main character could be the client image or the image of the relative, mother, spouse, child. It could also be a pet, a household object, or another familiar object. The character is usually drawn from a living person, and the audience think, "Oh, this is what my mother would do, and this is what my friend would say." The character must be completely understood in order for you to know exactly how we would act in a certain situation. For this, you must fully develop the character. Storytelling in email marketing. Campaign that launch mailing lists after use number card and simple listing of facts and don't want a sector that attention of subscribers. They think if people have already opened the letter, let them get the maximum benefit. But why do they need this if trust in the company has not let been formed, and trust can't arise without emotion. Story in letters that are not just number and facts but also include a plot, character, and emotional attachment can affect reading, establish a relationship between the subscriber and the brand, and involve to use the product. Most consumers have already developed brain blenders and don't notice the standard advertising in newsletter, but they are not yet accustomed to later with stories. That's why such email draw attention to themselves. Future of email. Storytelling. Content story email are used largely, but if your story holds the reader's attention from the beginning, the reception is more likely to finish the email and possibly take target action. Important storytelling in a letter begin with the subject and the paraheader. In no matter how exacting the story is in the letter, it may not be opened at all if the heading is boring.